Hello and welcome to Junk Journal Inspirations and day 29 of Tracie Fox Creative's Creep on June collaboration. I'm so excited that it's finally my day. A huge thank you to Tracie for putting this together because it has been so much fun. Also, a quick thank you to Tracie for giving me day 29 because it gave me a lot more time to figure out what I wanted to make. Yeah, I'm actually filming this. I was ahead of schedule, guys, ahead of schedule for the first time ever. I'm filming this on the 18th, and it doesn't even have to be out to the 29th. I'm so proud of myself. I feel so accomplished. Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with the collaboration, it's been going on since the first, and I will put the link to where you can find this really cool sort of calendar on Tracie's website, and all you have to do on the computer is click on each of the days and it'll take you right to the video for that day, and then you can watch all of the other amazing, there have been so many amazing creations, and honestly I haven't watched any videos except Tracie's first two on day 1 and 2 because I wasn't done with my projects and I was so afraid that I was gonna be down on myself and second guess my decisions of what I made and all that kind of nonsense. So I haven't watched any yet, but as soon as I get done filming this, I am gonna put on my playlist and I'm gonna watch all the ones up until today. And then obviously all the other ones too. So anyway, I actually made like 3 things, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through them. I'll show you what I made, and then I will do kind of a here's how I made it, but not really like fully, if that makes sense. Tutorials and I are just not getting along lately, and I want to make sure that I show you how I made it, but I'm not going to take the time to, make each one all the way through, if that makes sense. All right, so basically the collaboration is using the collaborators are using a kit that Tracie made for the collaboration, and they're Halloween Mega Matchbox Minis, and you get 8 different box designs. I used one. I did make them all, and then I used one. And yeah, so I had made all the boxes, and I'm going to show you just kind of my construction of those real fast. And then I made 3 things with the boxes that I'll show you. So these are just the boxes, and all I did was add a Tim Holtz hitch post to the front to make it a pull open drawer. And then on the inside, I just have a bunch of bits from the kit. But yeah, that's it. But I did make them sturdier, and that's what I'm gonna show you how I did that. Let me set these aside. And then we'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna show you the journal first. It's actually like an accordion book. I did watch, I think everybody has seen Susie at Shabby Soul with her make. I sort of followed that, but I used fabric instead of paper for my spine, I guess. So I'm going to go through it first, and then I'll show you where the box is in this particular journal, and then I'll show you the other 2, and then I'll show you how I made it. All right, so this is the basic construction of this. Well, yeah, I'm going to show you that now because it makes more sense. So the basic construction is pretty simple. I took some Halloween fabric that I happened to have from it's Tim Holtz, and I actually tore 2 pieces so it would be on both sides, and then I just sewed that together. I actually put some what is that stuff called? I think I can pull this off here a second and show you. The stabilizing stuff in between the fabric just to give it a little more substance. And then I just sewed around that, and that was the base for my accordion folio. And then the pages, super simple. One side is either an old book cover, or in this case I used some Tim Holtz, the big baseboard backdrops. I'm not sure what they're called. So it's either that or that. And then I took pages from Tracie's Dark Compendium kit, and basically I folded them in half. I'm not going to do an excellent job here. And then as you can see, I tore. So I tore it down to the right dimensions, which in this case, I think I did like 6 3/4 by about 4.5. And then I just used my tear ruler, and I just tore around, you know, to make that. And then I sewed that together, so you have a front and a back. And then that piece would go behind, if that makes sense. So this would be like your first page. I hope that makes sense. And then when you flip it over, you have this to work on, you know, to decorate. So that's the basic construction. So I just folded this and then made the pages and then just kept folding. I did end up adding more. So this piece is actually cut. I cut some off of this because I needed it for the actual book. But that's the basic page construction. So I just, yeah, I will tell you this. There are some bugs here. These are rub-ons, Tim Holtz rub-ons. The only spiders that I used in any of these projects are these tiny little silver spider charms from Stampin' Up! That I had in my stash. Honestly, I don't even know why, because I hate spiders. Those are the only spiders you're gonna see because they don't creep me out too much. And I had them, so I wanted to use them. If you, I am gonna have all of these listed in my Etsy shop. So if you don't like spiders and you want me to take those off before you get your whatever, if you order something, just let me know and I'll take them off for you. No big deal. They're just all, you know, I think I can get to all of them. Actually, that's not true. Well, we'll talk about that later. All right. So this is my, sort of my front page, and this is a cat from Tracie's kit. And I added a fluffy tail to my kitty. And I also used some glitter embossing powder on his eyes, just to kind of, yeah, like that black on black look. And then this is a Tim Holtz piece that I painted, or actually I think I just used Sharpie on that to make it black. This was a little, I think this was a Tim Holtz piece. It's the number 13. It's a piece of metal. I embossed it with that same black glitter embossing powder, and then I used foundry wax around the outside where I kind of like tore up the baseboard to put the coin in there. Are you seeing that? I think so. So that's what that is. I've got some crocheted die cut pieces from Tim Holtz. I just tore them up and kind of made them look really kind of shabby and spooky. This is one of the Tim Holtz gates from forever ago. I'm not even sure. It's a metal piece. I embossed that too. This was a little pumpkin button actually. And it started off looking like this. And then I sanded it. And then I painted it black with distress paint, black soot. And then I have some like gold, really fine like gilding powder, and I just rubbed that on with my fingers to make those pumpkins black and gold. All right, next page. So this one, there's nothing creepier to me than a bunch of children in a picture not smiling. So I was able to use up a lot of my creepy Tim Holtz children pieces, and they kind of fit in here perfectly. So that's what I did. This was one of the snapshots, I think. I cut it out so that it's in the shape of just the kids mostly, and made a pocket. And then I gave this kid a spooky cat mask. It's just a Tim Holtz piece. This is from the kit. I colored, because the words were white, I just sprayed that with a combination. It's a weird combination. It was coffee, some, I think it's Creative Memories cocoa ink, like re-inking ink. And then also some candied apple distress spray. That's what I used. I was just throwing things together to try to get like an orangey red color, and it worked. I think it worked. So yeah, that was that. I just added, this is a Tim Holtz baseboard, and then the skull and the crow are from the kit. I think I cut the crow out of something else, but I can't remember. And I just glued the crow onto the skull. And then in the pocket, some vintage ephemera. This is a vintage flashcard. It's just one-sided. And then this is from a game, but it's a snake, and I probably wouldn't use it anywhere else. So I thought, well, this is perfect. I got to use a lot of the things that I have that I haven't gotten rid of, but maybe necessarily haven't used. This is one of the tags from the Dark Compendium, wait, no. Is this from the Dark Compendium kit, or is this from the Matchbox kit? I can't remember. It's okay, it's from one of them. So I just made a tag and, kind of decorated it up a little bit, put some black lace up at the top, lots of, messy strings and such. And then this page, so there's typically a pocket page, and then a decorative page, and then a pocket page and a decorative page, if that makes sense. So this is just decorative, doesn't do anything. You've got the turkey vulture, that's from the kit. This is a die cut of a gate, and I just tore, I don't know if you can see, I tore some of the pieces to make it look like the gate's kind of broken. And then I put one of the gravestones back behind there. And then this was a book cover, an old book cover, but I covered it with the, where is it? Yeah, the Tim Holtz collage paper, the Halloween one from this past, I think it was this past year, maybe it was the year before, I can't remember now. So that's what's on the background there. And I did a lot of distressing. I sprayed it, I inked it, there's collage medium. Yeah, it's just kind of a big old mess, which is kind of how I create. I just have a whale tail tab punch up here. And then that's a Tim Holtz baseboard. I was kind of using those to lift up the page a bit so that like these little pieces wouldn't get crushed, if that makes sense. All right, next page. So this one's a pocket page. I'll pull all this out and show you first. So that's the page, that's one of the backgrounds from the Dark Compendium kit. This is from the newer kit, I believe, the Matchbox kit. And then this is another Tim Holtz baseboard. This was some frosted vellum that I had, and I sprayed it probably with that ink spray, and then I don't know, it looks like that could be crayon, distress crayon, or distress watercolor pencil maybe. Anyway, just distressed that up. I heated it so it got all warped, and it just made a good pocket. So we have a vintage train ticket in there. It's orange, so and then these are all from the kit, and then this is tags from the Dark Compendium kit. I'll show you these first. I just backed them with, well, these two, backed with some of the paper from Dark Compendium, and then I added this is from the Matchbox kit. There are two pieces. I just put them back to back to make it look like it's sort of a clipboard. And then this piece, I put a skull at the top, sewed around it, and then the paper that I used to back it had Edgar A. Poe on it, so I cut out the Tim Holtz Edgar Allan Poe piece and put him on there. And then the big tag, I ripped out some paper here, and I put that's that Tim Holtz Halloween piece with the eye, and it's something about a druggist or something. And then I put mica over top. My new favorite supply is mica. I am addicted. I don't know what took me so long to get some of that, but I have it now, and I'm not going to stop using it. You will see it many times throughout these projects. This piece back here is actually is authentic piece from a will from like 1805 or something. I mean, it's a long time ago. I can't remember. But anyway, that was just a piece I tore out. These are Tim Holtz pieces. This was a piece of a crocheted doily, some black fabric, and just some eyelash trim. I mean, the tag itself is beautiful. So, but I did, I don't even know if you can see it. Let's see if I can get it. Can you see where it says condemned at the bottom, but kind of ghost-like? Let's see. It's not really. Oh, it's there. It's there. It's right across the bottom here. I stamped it in clear embossing ink, and then I went over it with clear embossing powder, and then I used some of this stuff, and I just kind of put it on my finger and dusted it over top of it. It shows in person, but it's not picking up real great on the camera. Let me see if I get closer. Oh, there, maybe you might be able to kind of see it down there. Okay, and then the back is just, this is a piece of Tim Holtz paper. I think it's from Abandoned. Hold on, I just saw a white spot. And then this is one of the labels from Tracie's kit, and I just put that on the back. All right, let's put this back. Whoops. Well, I can do it later. All right, and then this is just a decorative page. So I took a book cover, and then this is a Tim Holtz die. The, oh, I don't know what that's called. I can't remember what it's called. Behind that is mica. I think you can maybe see the shimmer. There we go. So there's mica behind the die cut. And then this is a Tim Holtz piece. This is a Tim Holtz piece. The cauldron is from the kit. The hat is from the kit, and the wings, the bat wings, are from Tracie's kit. And this is Tim Holtz. I happen to have a ton of paper dolls without heads because I sometimes use the heads as like pictures. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe I don't have a good example right now, but I have a lot of headless paper dolls, so this came in handy. So I put one of the pumpkin heads on her and gave her bat wings and a witch hat, and she's got a little cauldron here. And there's a antique bingo card back behind here as well, and some lace. And then this is the back page. So now we're back. We can go the other direction now. Way. All right, so this was pretty simple. Another piece of that will, some book spine junk, some doily. It was a piece of scrapbook paper. You can't really even see it anymore, but it had like a black and white glitter harlequin pattern. This is a Tim Holtz ticket, Tim Holtz word card, Tim Holtz hand. This is also Tim Holtz in this. So this is mostly Tim Holtz on the back here, or vintage papers that I had in my stash. So this page is where I put the matchbox. So as you can see, this page is actually really thick. And I am going to show you sort of how I put that together after we go through this. I'll figure out where that goes later. Okay, so let me show you. And then I'll show you how I put it together. So I used... Okay, let's see. They've got the creepy little girls that aren't smiling, and yeah. Tim Holtz, this is a raven from the kit and a bat from the kit. This is a Tim Holtz frame that I painted and stenciled in the background. This is also a Tim Holtz window, I think it was, that I cut the window pieces out of the middle. The box is actually sitting inside this chipboard piece, which I'll explain in a minute. There's mica sitting over the top, and I'll show you how I got that cracked mica look. I put a bug kind of crawling, but he's on the mica, so it looks sort of like he's, yeah, anyway, he's climbing up there. Inside, you have one of the tombstones. There are spiders in here, so if you don't like spiders, I can't get these out. It's just so you know. You've got the tombstone. I layered up the RIP so it looks like it's standing off. The tombstone is also layered up onto cardstock. These little pumpkins were the same as the ones on the front, but I left these orange and just sort of distressed them with some brown ink. A skull from the kit, and then I will show you how I got the box to fit in there. These were the witch feet with the shoes from the kit. But they were just all black, even the legs. And I had this glittery orange and black striped paper in my stash. So I just gave her some tights so it would just show you that the legs are there a little better. All right, this page is, let's see, this was a sticker that is from the Antiquarian sticker book. So I cut around it so it didn't have a border. I added some wire antenna, and I layered him up onto some cardboard. Did a little bit of a cluster piece here with pieces from the kit and some other pieces. This is an antique piece from a prescription, like a doctor's prescription pad. There's some lace back here. There's some corrugated sheet, it's just stapled together and then glued on. This piece is from the kit. This is a Tim Holtz piece. I added some brads too and stuck that on there. And then this is an old, let me show you, because I have more. I can't remember what they're called, but they look like this. And then they have little pokey pieces on the back, but I just folded those in and then glued it down. I think they might be from tobacco, but I'm not sure. We got them at an estate sale, but they were orange, so it worked, so I put that on there. And then this is a Tim Holtz piece. It's not the really thick one, but it's the slightly thicker, whatever those are called. And that opens up. There's a magnet here to hold it down, just some strips of fabric so it looks like it's a book, a hinge there. Here I just clipped on a couple of pieces. I had this really spooky picture of this lady who almost looks like maybe she was at a funeral. And then a flinch card with the number 13. And then this is a Tim Holtz vellum moth. I just thought he kind of looked good there. I didn't want a whole lot on this page because I wanted the magnet to work. So that's why that's like that. Okay, this is a Tim Holtz piece. The door came from Tracie's kit, the Matchbox kit. I've got that plaid piece that I just tore up and sort of curled over. This is a bat from the kit, grungy paper doily back there, and the skeleton guy makes a pocket. So I have some vintage ephemera in there. I like this because it says buy sliced objects. Sounds kind of spooky. There's an arcade thingy, a witch hazel label. Oh, that one still got that. I'll take that off. And then just a bus ticket. So I will deal with that later. Okay. Then we're almost done. It's only 5 pages and then front and back, so 10 total. This piece, I took the book cover, I cut out a rectangle in the middle, and then I just sort of made it look like these creepy clown children are outside the window. I did emboss them with the Lost Shadow Distress Glaze. It didn't really do a whole lot because it's a very light color, but it did make them a little glossy. Hung a little spider here from a jewelry pin thingy. There's one of those Tim Holtz moons. The paper in the background is like a silvery cobweb paper. This piece is from Tracie's kit. I just put that there like, maybe that's on the windowsill. Again, I colored those. This is just some lace that I chopped up and turned into curtains. You've got this piece and this piece are from the kit. Oops. And then, that doesn't go there. Let's see what else. This is Tim Holtz. Oh, I did, there was a doily up here that I had colored, but it didn't come out the color I wanted. So I went over it with Crypt grit paste and now it just looks grungy. That was much better in my opinion. All right, this page was fun to make. I actually had the pumpkin die cut was something I got in an estate sale with a whole bunch of other craft supplies, and I've just been holding on to it. I've never made a Halloween project before. I should probably mention that. So I have all this Halloween stuff, not very much, that I just never use, but I don't want to get rid of it. So this was perfect. I got to use it. So Tracie, you need to have another Halloween collaboration because I still have more. Okay, so I embossed, it was really orange, very orange. So I embossed over it with, I think, walnut stained distress glaze. And then I put behind it some glitter, black glitter paper. So you could see that through the holes in the die cut. And then these are a couple Tim Holtz pieces. So is this. This is a Tim Holtz sticker word thingy from one of those books. This is the seasonal one. I don't even think they make them anymore, but I still have some. And then you've got double pockets here. So we've got, this is a piece from the kit that I just backed. So it can sit back here behind the skeleton dude. And then this is another one of those cards. I don't remember what the card game is, but this one said sick person. I'm never going to use that anywhere else but Halloween. So that's in there. And then, oops. And then I made 2 tags. So we have the small one, and I've got some orange puffy yarn up at the top. This was an antique doily, I think, and it just had this pretty orange and yellow stitching on it. So I cut that off. And then this is from one of the Tim Holtz, either abandoned or departed. I can't remember which pack I pulled that from. And then here's a larger tag. I just had this in my stash. It was just some like rusty orange colored, I don't even know what it was originally, but it worked for this. And I just added the book spine piece, so you can still see the raven back there. Kind of cool. And it looks like the kitty is getting the raven. He's up on this fence. It's Tim Holtz cat. And then again, that was from one of those Tim Holtz paper pads. Not sure which one. And then that's that. And then we are back to the beginning. Oh, I did put I have a little velvet ruffle up here that I sewed, and some little black pom-pom trim. And then we're back to the beginning. So that is the accordion book. And we've got some pieces to put away, and I will show you how we made that in a minute. And then I took 2 boxes and made other things. So this one is simply the box, and then I took this piece and I cut it down so that it would just okay, I cut it down so that it doesn't have the bottom piece. It just has the 2 side panels and the one piece. So it basically folds over like this, okay? And this piece I cut off. And then I glued the first flap here, and then this is the big flap, like this one, and then this is the other small flap. And I put a magnet in here, and then I cut this off of one of the ephemera pieces from the kit. There's some lace here. On this side, I took the hinge pieces from the kit, and then I took a piece of lace that I had ripped off, so it was more like the thickness of yarn, and I just corseted up that just for decoration. It doesn't do anything. And then some crocheted die cuts. I put the plaid die cut on the back. And then this is one of the Tim Holtz things. It says found curiosities. I cut off the ends because they normally have those loop ends, but it didn't fit, so I just cut them off. This is a Tim Holtz window. It was like gray, I think. I painted it black with the distress paint, and then I went over it with just a little bit of silver gilding wax. These are Tim Holtz pieces I just collaged up there, and then underneath there's mica again, if you can see that. I literally just, the reason it looks the way it does, I layered them up on top of each other, so you get kind of like a cracked look. That's not how I did it on the other one. I'll show you how I did that. But this, I just layered up a bunch of scrap pieces that fit inside the circle. And that's a circle from Tracie's kit. I think it's from the Dark Compendium kit, but they're like that size. Okay, so that's the outside. Oh, you've got a poison label here. It's Tim Holtz. It still has the hitch post, and then I put the dark side on the back. I didn't color the words on that one. And then it opens up, And on the inside, you have this guy. He just looks creepy to me. These are pieces from the kit. I may have cut this out of a background page. I'm not sure. I know I cut this out of a label that's in the kit. This might be from Dark Compendium. And then I just used the words a bit batty because he looks a bit batty to me. And then inside here, I cut out the word murderer and put that on the side. You can see that. And then the eyeballs I cut out from some of the background paper and put on that side. And then down in the bottom, underneath a piece of mica to protect it, is one of the grave markers from the kit. This little flower was one of the circle pieces. And I just cut the flower part out because I liked that in there. Oh, there's a raven that I cut out of one of the tags, I think, in there. He's standing on the pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern head. I'm trying to get the light to hit right so you can see what's in there, but it's a bit difficult. Hopefully you can see. But yeah, this one was super easy. As far as construction, really, you just put the box together, which I'll show you in a second, and then just put that over top. And then you've just got a nice little box. Oops, and then I've got things inside, and I'll show you how I made this little envelope too. This is an envelope from the kit. And then I just used, this is Tim Holtz, that's that eyeball piece, but a smaller version. This is from the kit, piece of lace, and then this was a vintage price tag I had, it's $13. And then I used a Tim Holtz piece to hold the flap down. And inside, we just have the little owl piece of ephemera from the kit, and I backed it with some Dark Compendium paper. I stamped on the inside, and this is mica, the window is mica. And all I did to do that, I'll just show you right now because it's super fast. I took, oh, here it is. Okay, so I took one of the envelopes from the kit, I cut it out, I folded it. I would have inked it, but I'm not going to use this one, so I didn't ink it. And then I have somewhere, oh, here it is, a Stampin' Up! Oval punch. It's 2 inches by 1 3/8 inch, and I just did my best to center that. I mean, it's not perfect. You just want to try and center it. So I basically look at the tab up here and try and make sure that my oval is sort of centered in that space. It's not perfect, and that's fine. Was actually more perfect than the first one I did. And then yeah, I don't know if I covered that up or not. It doesn't matter. But again, I just used mica, and I just glued the piece of mica in here, and then you've got a little window envelope. So that's that. And then in this box also are some other pieces. There are some pieces from the kit that are backed. There are some poison labels, and then these are also from the kit. So these are authentic poison labels. They're vintage from my stash. All right. And then this one I think might be my favorite. This idea came from Junk Journal Joy originally. She and I did a collaboration a while back where she looked at one of my videos, I looked at one of her videos, and then made something based on that, but different, if that makes sense. Anyway, what she made was a snippet roll attached to an Altoid tin. So instead of using the Altoid tin, I used one of the matchboxes. So let me open this up. Basically, you have a snippet roll attached to a box like this. So the closure is just, I don't know, it's just a scrap piece of black something that I had in my stash. I just added some doily and this other black piece. I just sewed that on just so it looks nice. The base of this, again, super easy. I took some more Tim Holtz fabric that I happen to have because I liked the black polka dots with all the Halloween stuff. And I tore 2 strips that were about 3 inches wide, and it was just the length of this. So whatever that is, you can make it as long as you want, it doesn't matter. This particular piece is about, oh, I don't know, 16 inches. And you can make it as long or as short as you want, really. So I just took those 2 strips and then I sewed some trim, some of this black trim on the one side. I sewed that down on top on the one side. The other side I didn't. Okay, so that's the basic construction. So let's pretend that this is our snippet roll, right? All I did was I used a box without a hitch post and without the cover, and I just glued it to the end of my snippet roll. Okay, so that's the construction done. Now all you have to do is decorate. Super, super easy, and also very fun. So let me show you. Later. Okay, so after I kind of did it a little backwards. I would suggest marking where your box is going to go and then decorating your snippet and then put your box on at the end. That's way easier. I was just I was doing it as I went, and yeah, I would do it totally different if I did it again. But it worked the way I did it too, so it's not that big of a deal. You just have to be a little more creative. So I'll show you the inside first. So I added lace here and there. I did a lot of stitching. All of this ephemera I stitched on with my machine. Like I used some glue stick, then I stitched around everything on this side only. Okay, so most of this is Tim Holtz with a few exceptions. This is from Tracie's kit, the bat, and I colored over it with some black glitter pen, if you can see that. The broom is from Tracie's kit. This is Tim. I cut this out of a Tim. This is Tim. This is from Tracie's kit. This I think is Tim. The ticket is Tim. The cat is Tracie. Tim. And then inside the box, well, I'll show you the box first. So on this side, I stamped pumpkin onto some fabric. This is a vintage stamp that I have. This side, I used one of Tracie's words from the kit. Or it's not words, it's a phrase. And then just lace on the ends. And inside, like I said, that's just glued on to the fabric. Inside, I used this long tab so that you can pull these pieces out. So basically, it looks like this, and then you pull this and all of these little pieces come out. These are just pieces from the kit backed with dark compendium paper. Little tag, some other pieces, and then this is the tag with the lace. So that one goes down first when it goes back in. All of this put back together here. And then in the inside of the box is one of the envelopes from the kit. I made it into a flip up inside the box. So there's more mica in there underneath the jack-o'-lantern. So the envelope, I just glued down the flap of the envelope to the bottom of the box, opened up the end to make a pocket, and used my notch punch there. So inside we have a bunch of authentic vintage poison labels. I have so many of those and I just don't use them, so this was perfect. And then So that's attached. And then on the inside, I did just a little collage on the bottom of the box. The jack-o'-lantern is Tracie's. The eyes, nose, and mouth were white. Instead of cutting them out, I used that black glitter pen. That is an authentic ride ticket back there. I think that's a Tim Holtz piece down there. I can't remember exactly. So that's that. So if you hold this lace sort of to the side here and then put this tag in like that, you can sit everything else in and you'll be able to get it all out. All right, now let's look at the other side. All right, so this is the part this is the bottom when you wrap it up, and this is the part on the side. So I just added another one of those Tim Holtz metal pieces. I sewed them down by the loops, added a bunch of like lace and doily and this cool pom-pom trim. This is the front cover. So you've got a big button, and that's for the closure. I just tied a spider to that button because I used this piece from Tracie's kit with the cobwebs or the spider webs. I cut out the little witch on the broom from one of Tracie's pieces. The skull is from Tracie's kit, and so is that this piece back here. And then, whoops. So this would be then a side, and this is a Tim Holtz piece, and this is from the kit. This is an authentic witch hazel label in a different language. And then the rest of it is Tim Holtz except for the cat. That's Tracie's. This came from Tracie's kit. This little piece is Tim. This is from the kit. I took some of those seasonal words stickers and I embossed them. This one is Lost Shadow. And then the orangey one is Rusty Hinge. And it worked really well. It's just the distress glaze. This is from Tracie's kit. And then this is all Tim Holtz except the scaredy cat. That's Tracie's. And that's pretty much it for that. So as far as construction, like I said, this one's super easy. I'll show you how I made my boxes, and that's exactly what I did. I just made the box the same way for this project and for this one, except for the cover. And then most of this is just decorating, really. The construction's pretty simple, and then you just roll it up, and this will go around sort of like that, and then that sits on the spine. Oops, excuse me. And then I just went around the button once like that. All right, so that's all my projects. I've shown you how this one was made. I've kind of talked through this one. Let me show you how I made the boxes first of all. Because I wanted them sturdier than just cardstock. Because my cardstock is more of, it's not really a cardstock, it's an HP professional business paper. So it's more of, it's thicker than copy paper, but I think it's only about 48 pound. So it just wasn't as thick as I wanted. So here's what I did. So these are the pieces these are the pieces you need for the box. You have the box shape, you have the cover, and then this is the part that goes down in the bottom of the box so that it's all covered, so you don't have any white. Okay, and what I did, so this is just the piece cut out and inked, and then what I did is I marked here, it's about not quite 3/4 of an inch, and I'm not putting glue there. Okay, I'm leaving that without glue, and I did not put glue here either. So glue all inside here, and then I glued it onto this thin craft paper. It's probably about the same thickness as the business paper I'm using to print on, but it just gives it a little bit more. The reason I didn't glue this part down is because this part, this flap, is going to go into that when we fold it. So let me show you what I mean. I have to use a scoreboard because I am pants rubbish garbage at folding on my own. So what I did, these boxes, if you print them at 100%, which even in the US you can, I did, they're designed for A4 paper, but if you print them at 100% on letter paper, it works. And if you do that, they are 1 inch by 2 inch by 3 inches. So it makes it easier to score. So not perfect, but easier. So basically I just line this up with a number and then score that really well because it's pretty thick. Just make sure you get a score line everywhere. Score that up, and then the cover, I should have said that the cover is actually a bit bigger in all dimensions so that it can fit around the box. The box is 2 by 3 by 1. All right, so once you get that all folded and backed, if you choose, I just use my bone folder and crease everything really well. Obviously you'll want to ink if you want to ink. I'm not inking for demonstration purposes because it just takes too long. All right, so once it's all folded, then what I do is I sneak in here where I didn't glue down the paper, right? And I add glue all in that space, top and bottom. And then just line up and glue it down. And you can just obviously take your time with it. I was rushing a bit, so it's not perfect, but there you go. So now you have a much sturdier surface, but it still lays pretty nice, even with the extra paper. It's not quite perfect, but it's close. And I did like the sturdiness of it. So that's how I did that. And then for the actual box, I cut some pieces of like 300, I think this is 300 GSM, and I cut them down to a little less than what this space measures. So I have 2 pieces that are 3 inches long by almost an inch wide, and then I have 2 pieces that are 2 inches, almost 2 inches wide by almost an inch high. You only need to ink these 2 because those are the ends that could show. So the long ones need to be inked if you're inking because they might show through. They do show through if you don't. As for putting it together, because I use the hitch post as my handle, one of the short pieces, I mark the center, and then I used, wherever it is, those hitch posts are about 1/4 inch across. The little, you know, they're about a quarter inch. So I used my 3/8 inch circle punch and punch a circle in the middle. There it goes. That way, that way when you put that on, this has a place to sit. So let me, I used my, I think this was the right, yeah. I'm gonna find the center with my design ruler. And I know that that's about an inch, so I'll just go in about 1/2 inch, and then wherever my pencil is. And then I just used this regular 1/8 inch hole punch just to make a hole for the post. And that's not centered at all, but you know, you get the idea. Take your time and then it'll be fine. So I just put this in here like so. I did add glue, but you don't really have to. And then this will sit here, sort of, so that, I just need to cut it down a little bit because I didn't punch it right. That'll keep, it'll just give you a space to hide that little, just gives you a surface, and then it's not extra bumpy. Does that make sense? It's not perfect because I didn't cut it right, but basically that's what I'm doing here. So I would glue this piece here. Obviously it would fit better. This piece goes on this side, and then the long pieces go here. Okay, now the next step is to fold over just these ends and glue those down. Okay, before you do any of this, you probably want to ink this middle section down here, where the folds are. So we've got these glued down, this is glued but open. Then I put my bottom in. Okay, then you're ready to glue your sides together. Okay, and then fold in your upper flap, and then everything gets covered. And so then it becomes a much sturdier box. I mean, this thing is pretty hefty, right? It doesn't collapse and it stays together really nice. So I hope that was helpful. Yeah, it's pretty simple, not difficult, but that's the box construction. So I did the same thing on all of the boxes. These were made, the boxes were made the same way, and even the box in here is made the same way. It just needs to be cut down a little bit. So let me show you. Look at that later. Okay. Now, there are probably a million different ways that you could do this, but I'm just going to show you what I did. So I cut out one of the box shapes, and I cut off everything. I cut off all of these pieces from all around. Okay, so you're left with this, and then so this would be gone. Okay, basically I'm cutting this down so that it's a 1/2 inch tall instead of 1 inch. Okay, so I cut off all those extra pieces. Then you need to cut, I scored first. Okay, I scored all of these, so at a 1/2 inch. Okay, and then once you score, you can cut off these 3 squares off of your tabs, and so you're just left with one. So it looks like this. And then I did the same thing on the inside. I just cut them to a 1/2 inch by 3 and a 1/2 inch by 2, so that it's still sturdy. Okay. I didn't put, obviously you don't need to do the hitch post or anything on this. So once you put it together, you've got, hold on, let's just do this so I can properly show you. So cut off everything and miter your piece that's, you know, staying there so it folds well. Okay, and then once all that is gone, you can just put your box together. So it ends up just being less deep. You can do it at the whole full inch. You're just gonna have to make a much bigger page. I just didn't want to have to build it up that high, so I just made my boxes smaller. Okay, I hope that is understandable. Then what I did is you've got a piece of background paper, or no, I'm sorry, here. Do you see the background paper behind the frame? That's from the kit. This one I did, I pieced, okay, let me show you. This is basically what the page looks like before you decorate it or add your box. This one I cut on a scroll saw and a jigsaw, and it's kind of pants, but I wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. You could do it this way. I would suggest maybe I don't know, my chipboard, maybe it wasn't so great and it just didn't cut nice. I mean, you could still use it. Honestly, this needs some work though, because the hole isn't quite big enough. But that's basically what you're looking for. And this is quite a few pieces, 4 pieces of really thick bookboard. I want to say it's 50 mil. Is that the correct measurement for bookboard? Really thick, but it works out to be almost a 1/2 inch thick, and I was okay with it raised up a little bit. So you can see the box here a little bit underneath that frame, but that's okay, I didn't mind. I was kind of just sick of building up the background. So it can be done this way. If you do it this way, I glued all the chipboard together first, let it dry really well with clamps, and then ran it through the saw. But that's not how I did it originally, because I am inept at power tools. So I took some thinner chipboard. This is probably about half thickness of the other stuff. I glued my box into the space where I wanted it, right? And then I pieced together the chipboard around the box. It sounds tedious. It is a little bit tedious. I think I ended up with 6 or 7 layers to get the thickness I needed. And I just pieced it. So I took whole pieces or small pieces, and I just pieced it and cut around each time. So after each layer, I cut the excess with a craft knife. It takes some time, but it works, and you don't have to get out the power equipment. So, and then I just put the box inside. The mica, I had a lot of people ask how I got that look. So this is the mica that I have. I bought it on Amazon. I will try to remember to put the link in the description box. But it is from Art Quest, and I bought the large pieces because I knew that I'd be able to get more out of it that way. And all I did, so mica, as you probably know, is a rock. It's a rock in nature. So, and it comes like this. You can peel layers off. There's a ton of layers in each one, but if you want to get that awesome kind of cracked glass look, you want to use a thicker piece that isn't pulled into layers. So I can't remember how thick I used, but let's just take one of these here, as you can see, and then I literally just bent it. So I ended up just doing this and cracking the inner layers. So you can just, do that until your heart's content and you have what you like. I do it over a garbage can because it does make a mess. But then you've got this cool cracked glass kind of look. And this stuff is really sturdy. Like, it's just so fun to work with. I love it. So that's how I got that look. And I just glued the piece of mica. I cut it. You can cut it with scissors, die cuts, anything. It cuts really well. And then I just put it behind this Tim Holtz frame. And I just decorated inside the box. That's pretty much it. It's all decorating after you get the basic, the basic shape down. The frames, now I don't know where those are. Obviously the frame started out like, let me grab one just a second. So the frame started out similar to one of these. These are the lacy ones, but similar idea. Obviously this one's a little big, but I painted it with the black soot distress paint, and then I used crackle paste with a stencil. I think it was the Ironworks. I think that's what it's called, the Tim Holtz stencil. And then so it just made it look Halloweeny. And then yeah, just decorated. That's pretty much it. I did paint the chipboard black around the edges so it wouldn't show so much. And then I did go around it with some lace too, mostly because I just liked the look of that. There's lace glued around the edges, and then there's some of this netting glued on there as well. Yeah, so that's it. We're at an hour. That's not so bad. I don't feel so bad about that. There was a lot to show you. I will have all of these items, the three items that I made for the collab. They will be in my Etsy shop when this video uploads. Make sure that you go and check out all of the other collaborators if you haven't already. I'm telling you guys, there are some incredibly talented ladies in this collab, and some of them are newer YouTubers. There are a couple that are just on Instagram, but like I said, if you go to Tracie's website, and I'll link that below, you'll find that calendar, and you can just click on, and it'll take you to either Instagram or YouTube or wherever that particular collaborator is demonstrating. I hope that you enjoyed this. I had so much fun with this. I never thought that I would ever do a Halloween project, not because I'm against Halloween or anything. It's just not a big deal in our house. It's just not something that I gravitate towards, but I tell you what, Tracie has changed my mind with these kits. So thank you, Tracie. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I will be back soon with another design team project for Tracie. She came out with a steampunk folio that is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'll be back soon with a flip through of that. And you can find all the links to everything in the description box below. And I will see you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.